This is my review of Iron Man 2. Now, I first saw it on Friday night, opening night, and I actually went again today to see it because of it being Mother's Day. I thought I'd do something nice for my mom and dad and take it to the movies. Anyway, there may be some spoilers in this, so I'll go ahead and warn you now. So be ready for possible spoilers throughout this whole thing, or at least here or there. Not too many big ones, but screw it. If they slip in, they slip in. Anyway, let's first start off with the plot. Iron Man, aka Tony Stark, or maybe that should be flipped. At this point, we all know, the whole world knows that he's Iron Man, but now he has a couple of problems. One, he has the US government knocking down his door, essentially trying to take away his suit, which he said, ain't no fucking way you get my suit, basically. Now, he also has another nemesis in a competitor by the name of Justin Hammer, who runs Hammer Industries, who at least at the beginning of the film, before Tony Stark gets brought in question, has a contract, who stepped in actually for him as a contractor of weapons and munitions for the US government after Stark decided to cut that particular program in Iron Man 1. Let's see, he also has probably another, actually the biggest nemesis in this, which of course is Ivan Vanko, who is actually the character Whiplash, from my understanding, although he's never referred to as that. And of course, the reason why he's the villain in this film, sorry, I'm just talking all crazy here. The reason why he's the villain in this film, or the main villain and the main antagonist, is because at the beginning of the film, we see his father die, and he wants to get revenge on the Stark family because Tony's dad, Howard, actually got rid of Vanko's dad back when they were designing the arc reactor, because Vanko's dad wanted to use it for money and to sell it and to get rich, whereas Stark wanted to use it to help humanity. So he shipped him back to Russia. The Russians got pissed at him that he couldn't finish his job, and thus got sent to Siberia and raised Ivan Vanko. So Vanko, essentially after his dad dies, creates his own mini arc reactor and goes after Tony Stark. That's it in a nutshell. Boom. Bing, bang, boom. As far as the special effects on this film, it's top-notch, just like the first one. You know, the Iron Man suit, when it's flying around in the CGI is actually done pretty seamlessly in that you can't tell when it's a CGI Iron Man or even War Machine and the actual actors in costume. So once again, top-notch, just like the first film. The direction in this is also well. Jon Favreau, I think, stepped up his game quite a bit from the first one. He's actually done a lot better on the action, although some of the sections where you see him, shooting the car like his Tony driving kind of reminded me a little bit of Michael Bay. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but hey, he's getting better at it. Although there was a shortcoming at the end of the film with the final battle between War Machine, Iron Man, and Whiplash, that was just over far too quick, and possibly could have been extended and maybe done a little bit more. That's just my take. Art direction, of course, is fantastic. Again, the soundtrack and the score was pretty awesome. I was getting a little tired of AC/DC though, but I understand they used them for the entire film, and it wasn't too overbearing, but that's all the music you heard. I think there was some other stuff when he was in his garage, but not much. The score, of course, mainly uses the guitar, which works perfectly with this film. Let's see, once again the score is great, and now we go on to the acting. Robert Downey Jr., I don't have to say anything. He plays it just like he did in the first film. Awesome, A+ all the way. Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts, once again does a great job, has the great chemistry and banter with Tony Stark throughout the whole thing. I gotta tell you, I wish there was more chemistry like this between characters in other films, especially male-female, because it was just, you know, you were actually believing you were watching Tony Stark and Pepper Potts as opposed to Robert Downey Jr. and Gwyneth Paltrow. And a lot of their dialogue when they're talking to each other was actually ad-libbed, like in the first one, which made it a lot more believable and actually added to the chemistry. See, you had Scarlett Johansson, who comes in as Black Widow. Honestly, I can't remember her actual name in here. Doesn't really have a lot to do, but she makes up for lack of lines and lack of action in the last 30 minutes of the film, where she goes on an ass-kicking spree and just fucking knocks her socks off and does it while looking sexy as hell, too. Let's see, you have Sam Rockwell, who plays the part of Justin Hammer. That is the competitor to Tony Stark Industries. This is Hammer Industries, or Hammer Productions, whatever. Makes weapons for the U.S. military. He plays him as kind of like a slime ball, second place guy who's always in Tony's shadow and is kind of pissed about it. And he does a pretty good job. I know a lot of people that I've seen videos here before were complaining that he was just annoying as hell. He was annoying, but to me that was part of the character and it worked well. The only scene that was a little off was later on where Ivan basically pisses him off and he goes on this little monologue and where he's basically saying, how does it feel? You stole from me, now I'm going to steal from you. It didn't really work well for me, but other than that, pretty solid. And let's see, now you have, of course, Mickey Rourke, who plays the part of Ivan Vanko. He doesn't say a lot either. In half his lines he says in Russian. But the dude is just fucking badass, especially the first time we see him as Whiplash when he steps on the track at Monaco, which we see in the trailers, and he's just standing there twirling those whips. Dude looks fucking awesome, plays the part well, and you can believe that a guy that looks like this, looks like gutter trash, and has the gold teeth and tattoos and looks like a dumbass is actually tech savvy. We actually buy it because of the pure awesomeness that Mickey Rourke puts into this role. Now, I'm not a huge Mickey Rourke fan, but dude, he was Whiplash. That was him. They picked the right guy for the job. I'm glad that they were able to get the contract negotiations down to bring him in. Let's see. Finally, we have Don Cheadle, who plays the part of Rhodey, or James Rhodes, the Lieutenant Colonel, Stark's friend, who also dons the silver armor in this movie and becomes War Machine. Now, for me, this unfortunately was the weakest performance in the film, simply because, of course, as most of you know in the first one, it was Terrence Howard that played the part, and due to whatever reasons that we'll probably never know, he was replaced. Don Cheadle was called up. First of all, to me, Don Cheadle, he's a great actor, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think he's Academy, I can't remember if he won an Academy Award, but I know he's been nominated. And the dude kicks ass. He's a great actor, no question about it. Now, to me, he didn't really fit the size part, because Terrence Howard is a pretty big dude, and standing next to Tony Stark was a little more of an imposing figure, at least if you were to look at him. This here, Don Cheadle, is about the same size, maybe a little bit shorter. Though he does wear the suit well, and he looks good in the suit, to me it just, I don't know, that threw it off a little bit. Plus, the biggest problem he had, which kind of annoyed the crap out of me, and what I'm about to say I actually read on IMDb that he did this purposely, whether it's true or not, I don't know. But instead of taking the part of Rhodey and trying to make it his own, and put his own little spin on it, he did the one thing that you should never do when you take over for somebody else, and that is, according to IMDb, he said he did this purposely, but he was playing Rhodey exactly the same way that Terrence Howard did. He tried to play it with the same mannerisms, to get the same line delivery, the same facial expressions, and everything. He basically tried to do his imitation of Terrence Howard as Rhodey. So instead of playing Rhodey and making it his own, he was playing Terrence Howard playing Rhodey. Kind of like in Tropic Thunder, where you have the famous line from RDJ saying, I'm the dude playing the dude disguised as another dude. And to me, that was the problem here. I know it could have worked. Some people may have liked it, and if they get Terrence Howard back for a sequel or for the Avengers movie, then maybe it'll end up working out because it won't seem like there was that huge of a change because he kept the character the same. But he should have tried to make it his own, put a little, just change it up some. Anytime a new actor steps into a part that has been played in the past by somebody else, they should always do their different take on it. It's like last year's Star Trek, all the characters who played all the roles put their own little twist on things from the original actors. Like Chris Pine playing Kirk put his own little twist. He had bits of William Shatner in there, but it wasn't overbearing and it wasn't almost into a parody situation, which this was. So to me, that was probably the weakest part of the film. Now, overall, since I've been going on a little bit here, and after editing, this thing will be right around the 10-minute mark, I would definitely say I would give this, if you ask me to put a number on it, let's say an 8.5 out of 10. Now, it was a lot better than I was reading on it. A lot of people were saying that they were disappointed. And with a couple of the actors, like I said, as they were, mainly with Don Cheadle brought it down a little bit. The final battle brought it down a little bit. But overall, it was a great film to watch.